Every time we turn on the news, every time we turn on our social media feed, it is all that. It's fear, 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 disaster, disaster, disaster. And by the way, this isn't just since COVID. Today, the fear, fear, fear is COVID. Or the economy collapsing. But this was a technique. This was a strategy long before COVID. And that's really what it is. It's a strategy. Fear sells. Sensationalism sells. What determines that which comes on your social media feed? An algorithm. A mathematical equation that Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever social media feed you're on uses. Or Google News. Whatever we're watching. With so much happening in the world, when I go to Google News, why do I get the 15 or 20 articles that show up? An algorithm. When I open Facebook, why do I get what shows up? An algorithm. An equation. But it's not an equation where the end result is supposed to be truth. So it's not A plus B plus C divided by D equals highest truth. Or A plus C plus D plus divided by F equals inspiration. It's A plus B plus C divided by D equals the likelihood that you will click on it. That's how the equations work. How do they give the news in such a way that you will click on it? How many times have you clicked on a story that had some title that looked so fascinating? Like you couldn't help yourself but click on it. And then you actually get to the article and you realize, this isn't so interesting. This isn't what I thought it was going to be. Well, they clearly had just given a title that they know, due to the PR companies they've hired, works well with the algorithm to get you to click. That is their goal. You should click more. You should stay online more. Why is that their goal? Because the longer you are online, the more advertisements you see. The more advertisements you see, the more money they can get from people who advertise. Or, if it's not necessarily a monetized financial motivation, then the motivation is just you should spend as much eye time on their site as possible. That's what the algorithms are for. So the question is, how did we all agree to become slaves to an algorithm? Somebody writes an equation that says this much fear, this many verbs, this many adjectives in this many words equals high clickability. Fine. But we, with our common sense, with our free will, with our truth of who we are, that oneness with the divine, that creator of our own lives, when and how did we all agree to collectively surrender our free will on the altar of an algorithm? When did we agree? Whatever the algorithm says, we'll do it. But every time you click on that fear-based article, that's what you're doing. You are literally strengthening, empowering that mathematical equation. So in the same way that those of us who are very particular about what we eat don't get forced to eat things we don't want to eat, and those of us who are very particular about not drinking alcohol, for example, there's nothing that you could say in an advertisement to convince me to, try the alcohol or to try the hamburger. I know I don't eat meat. I don't drink alcohol. And my free will, my personal resolve is stronger than anything someone might say to convince me to eat it, or any advertisement that a hamburger company might put out or an alcohol company might put out. And this is true for all of us. That which matters to us, we use our free will for. Why is it then that with our time and our energy and our mental health and peace, we so willingly become slaves? Don't. Take back your time. Take back your focus. Take back your free will. And refuse to click. Just don't click. There are ways to get the news that you need without scrolling through whatever Google News decides to give you. There are ways to see how your friends are doing on social media that doesn't require you to scroll through a news feed of whatever social media decides to give you. Just like you can drive right past the McDonald's and pull in at the health food store and buy what you want to eat. Not just because McDonald's came first, so you went there. Use that same power. Use that same free will. Because your mental health, your peace, is much too valuable to be a slave to someone's algorithm.